For those who are pre-med, I want you to know that you will be a doctor. If you want it as badly as you think you do, as you say you do, you will be a doctor. There's nothing in this world that's gonna stop you from being a doctor but you.
Baby Sungbalaja, you supposed to be straight with me. Oh, aloya bara, ìgbà tí màá lówó Olúwa ló mọ̀. Orí ìjà mi ẹlẹ́kọ̀ọ́, baby jalo ẹlẹ́kọ̀ọ́.
Hey guys, if this is your first time on my channel, welcome. If you've watched my videos before, hello, how you doing? Me and you are very familiar, so gang. You already know what it is. LOL, just kidding. No gang, Happy New Year's and happy holidays. I have not posted a video in a while just because I've been busy at school, and then when I got home, just didn't feel like it, honestly. But now it's a new year, new beginning, so I am coming back, and I really have been spending this winter break thinking about what kind of videos I wanted to make moving forward. And I think something that's been heavy on my heart lately is this whole pre-med journey I've been on and the failures I've gone through, as well as, like, you know, some of the many successes. And I feel that everyone says pre-med is hard, which is true, right? I'm not saying it's not, but I feel like sometimes it's hard to actually know what pre-meds really do go through. And it's really easy to see people say, yeah, I got into medical school, or yeah, I'm pre-med, or yeah, I'm in medical school, I'm a doctor. But, like, no one really talks about the different ways they got to that point. Like, we know, okay, you went to college, got into medical school, you're a doctor. But, like, there's so much in between that when I went to college, I did not know about. And it wasn't until, like, this summer that I actually really started realizing how serious this shit is. Like, this is, if you want to be a doctor, this is not easy at all. And, like, I didn't realize it until I was actually doing it. I am making a new series called, like, Journey to my MD, hashtag life of a pre-med, all that, whatever. And the idea is I want to make videos through every step of the process up until I get to medical school, and even after I get into medical school, because this like winter break, I've been doing a lot of research about, like, medical school admission and, like, how to do well in school, how to get grades and all this kind of stuff. And to be honest, the only people giving advice are people not of color. And that's kind of annoying because I am a person of color, and I feel like there's not a lot of representation, and, like, I feel like I don't see a lot of black pre-meds on YouTube, and I don't see a lot of these people giving advice. And I think it's really important that there is that perspective, and that people coming after me will have, like, someone to look up to and say, like, oh, she went through the same thing I'm going through right now, and this, you know, how she overcome it. Overcome is not a word. Overcame. How she overcame it. And I think it's just really important to me, and it's been on my heart because I feel like I really want to share my story and the ways I went wrong, what I'm fixing, and that's really just all I want to do. So I'm gonna start that kind of video series. I don't want to promise consistency, like I might not be posting every week for the series, but I'll post as my life updates. So, like, this video I'm going to be talking about my fall quarter junior year, how that went. And I'll be talking about, you know, what I'm changing for next quarter and some other stuff too. If you had watched my video, how I wasted my first 2 years at Stanford, you should know that I decided to restart my pre-med requirements. Not restart, but, like, try to complete as much as I could. I had stopped at Chem 31 A and B and then just left it at that and didn't do anything else. So now I'm trying to, like, start from there. So I'm taking bio now. I'm gonna be taking organic chemistry this quarter. You know, I'm just, like, really trying to get stuff done. And now it's actually hit me that this is a really big deal, and I don't think I realized how much of a big deal it was, and how important it is I do well in school, and how important it is that I'm, like, literally focused and know how to be a good student. And If you follow me, you know that my first 2 years at Stanford have not been the easiest. A part of it was because, honestly, I wasn't taking school seriously, and another part of it was because I was put in an environment where I'm forced how to redefine success. I'm forced how to redefine how I learn, forced how to adapt to different teaching styles, forced how to actually study. And that's something I never had to do in high school. So coming to college, it was like, if I didn't understand the material the first time, I gave up. Because in my head, I'm just like, in high school, all you need to do is tell me the material once, and like I knew it. And that didn't translate to college. So it's been a pretty like academic shock for me since being at school. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I still haven't quite got the hang of how to be a student or how to navigate through Stanford, but you know, I'm learning, and that's why I'm making these videos, because I want you guys to learn as I learned, so you guys don't make the same mistakes I did. If you did watch how I wasted my first 2 years at Stanford, you should have seen how I talked about how I wasn't always studying, I wasn't going to office hours, and all those kind of stuff that could have contributed to the success I could have had my first 2 years. And I went into my junior year with the right mindset, and it didn't translate into action. And throughout my entire fall quarter of my junior year, I knew how important this year is to me and how important it is that I do this uphill GPA climb. I show that like I've really mastered how to be a student, and I knew what I needed to do. I knew all the right things to do, but I didn't do them, which is really like I spent this winter break like really self-reflecting on why didn't I do, or like, you know, where did I go wrong? Because in all my classes I was studying. Like when a midterm came up, I made study guides, I studied, did all my P-sets. Ask anyone who knows me, I rarely missed class. Maybe I missed like 2 or 3 classes of the entire quarter. And I was taking bio, like my home bio core, which is Monday through Thursday, 9:30 to 10:20, like every single day. And I only missed 2 or 3 classes the entire quarter. Like I was very dedicated. I went to, like, I rarely missed class. So I was always in lecture. So it wasn't a matter of like, oh, well, you're not going to class. And one thing that I realized that probably I went wrong my fall quarter was I was studying, but I wasn't actively learning. So like I would only start studying when I knew I had a midterm coming up, rather than let me study, let me review my notes every day, let me like consistently learn so I know that I understand the material. And I wasn't doing that until the midterm. So come the midterm, I would take it, felt good about it, and got it back only to fail. And I'm just like, I'm confused. Where did I go wrong? Like, I studied. Like, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Like, I studied. And I realized that I probably wasn't actively learning and actively studying, which is why when I got to the midterm, stuff that looked familiar to me, I probably didn't get the right answer just because I hadn't been actively studying. For example, like there was multiple questions on the final and the midterm for the bio core where the question was so familiar to me. Like I knew about this topic, and I was able to bring the multiple choice down to 2 answers, but I couldn't pick between the 2. And like that was a consistent pattern on like all the multiple choice I was doing on the exam. And now that I think about it, if I had studied a bit more, or if I had like studied every day and really internalized the material rather than studying like 2-3 days before the midterm, I might have gotten the right answers on those. So that's one thing I realized that probably didn't go too well for me my fall quarter. And my freshman year, when I didn't get a good grade in chemistry, I gave up, and I was like, skirt, I'm gonna just do a post-bac. And I got similar results from the bio classes I was taking, and I was very sad. I was like really sad this quarter, not this quarter, I was really sad this break about it. And I was just like, Sean, this was like, you were supposed to really turn it around and really like show medical school that this, like, she done that 180, like, you know, really turned it around, like getting A's now in these like science classes. And that didn't happen, and it made me really sad because I was just like, Sean, like, get your life together, like, for real. So I was really sad about it. I cried a lot this break because I was just like, I told myself a couple times this break I was not getting into medical school, and whew, I get like so emotional about this. And I told myself a couple times that I wasn't going to get into medical school, but then I had to remind myself that it's an attitude like that that's not going to get me into medical school. Like, I can easily say, okay, you didn't do as well as you wanted to, and then give up. Or I can say, okay, you didn't do as well as you wanted to. What do you need to change so this doesn't happen again? So that's really the kind of approach I'm going for now. And the more I've been thinking about, will I actually have to do a post-bac, given the time I have and the amount of requirements I need to complete versus the grades I've been getting in those requirements. And some people have told me to I should just focus on doing well and then doing the post-bac. And I don't want to, honestly. Like, I may have to. And that's always gonna be an option for me. Like, post-bacs are not going anywhere, but I feel like I feel like I'd be underestimating my capabilities. I honestly feel that I am capable of doing well in these classes. I just need a little extra time. I'm just someone who, instead of studying twice on this concept, I might have to study 3 or 4 times. And I feel like I shouldn't allow the fact that I may not be as familiar with the material as other people to deter me from taking the classes now. Because if we're being quite honest, like, whether I take chemistry right now or at a post-bac, it's still the same content, and it's still going to require the same amount of work for me to understand it. So for me, and yes, to go to Stanford, so it might be harder, but like, I truly believe that I'm still going to need the same amount of work ethic to pass a chemistry class at Boston University or Northeastern as I would at Stanford. So it's really important that, and honestly, like, it's been in my heart that I really don't want to do a post-bac. Like, I don't know if it's solely the money aspect or what it is, but like, I don't want to do a post-bac. Like, this could just be the Stanford environment, or it could just be everywhere, or it could be pre-med in general. But I feel like everyone who like says they're pre-med wants to act like they have their shit together, and that is not the case at all. I like, with the exception maybe few people, that is really not the case. Like, people who say they have their lives together, or like, yeah, and I volunteered at this clinic, oh yeah, I did blah blah blah. People want to say that they are on top of their shit. They're not. They're probably a hot mess crying on the inside like everyone else. So if you ever run into someone that they have it all together, it's either they do, which is very unlikely, or they're putting on a whole facade for you. They're struggling just as much as you. And I think that's the first thing I learned. And once you learn that and understand that, I feel like it makes you feel better about yourself. Like, you're not the only one struggling. You're not the only one going through the pains of chemistry or whatever it is, whatever else it is you're going through. And I think that has been, ever since I've kind of accepted that fact and really realized that fact, haven't been as hard on myself. And also, I've learned to stop comparing myself to others. Like, if I look to my left and right, people already applying to medical school, or people already got into medical school. And when I hear those kind of things, I'm happy for those people, but then I'm just like, Shone, what are you doing with your life, honestly? And then I have to remind myself that I know what I'm doing with my life. Like, I am on a completely different track than everyone else, and I can't possibly compare myself to someone who went to a private school, to someone who has money, to someone who has more resources than I do to like have gotten to wherever it is they are in. So it's unfair to myself to compare myself to other people in my peers, whether they're at Stanford or elsewhere. Like, I am doing my own thing, and I need to do what works for me, and I need to get to medical school as best as Shone can get into medical school. And I think that is the biggest thing that it's important to learn and accept. Otherwise, you're going to continue to compare yourself to people, and you're going to feel miserable when person A is already taking their MCAT and person B just applied to like 20 medical schools and person C did this and that. Like, don't do it. Don't compare yourself to anyone. And that's really it. Don't compare yourself to anyone. It's easier said than done. I like completely know, because even till this day, there'll be some times where I'm just like, damn, homegirl over there, you know, doing this, this, and this. But I have to remind myself that, Sean, you are on a completely different track. God is doing what works for you. God has your best interest at heart. And this person's path is not your path. So don't even like compare yourself. And it is what it is. And instead of letting this quarter get me down, I reminded myself I have 2 more quarters to this year, so I can really, really turn it around. And honestly, my very last resort is going to be post-bac or special master's program, but that is like last resort. Honestly, I really want to try to turn it around these last 2 years and hopefully apply to medical school as I'm graduating. Yeah, around the time I'm graduating. And within that gap year, I don't know, maybe I'll take physics, because I probably won't take it here, or, you know, work in a clinic, you know, do something useful. I really don't want to do a post-bac program, so I'm really hoping that everything goes well and that I'm really able to figure out how I learn best. And one thing to help myself get ready for next quarter, like, I'm taking organic chemistry next quarter, and I spent, after my multiple breakdowns about not getting to medical school, I spent a whole week going through like this like textbook that was recommended for the class, read through the chapters, tried to teach myself the material, like a good portion of the material that's going to be covered in class before starting, so that way it's familiar to me, and that way when I do go into lecture every time, it won't be the first time I'm seeing that material. Like, it will be something that I can recall and make easier, and it will make studying easier for me as I study throughout the quarter. And one thing I'm really going to change this quarter is I'm going to try to actively study. Like, I don't review my notes after lecture until I'm doing the piece set. Then I'll like look for the answer from my notes and then like get over with the piece set. So I'm really going to try to like rewrite my notes, actively go through my notes. I like go to office hours. Like, literally for this quarter, I've scheduled in the times where I'm going to be doing what assignment. Like, I tried to do majority. Didn't actually do, but I did a lot of readings for the class, for all my classes prior to, so that way, at least my first week, I kind of have a head start in the readings. I am really trying to be more proactive about making sure I understand the material. So that's literally all I've been focused on this winter break, and I'm really hoping that that's going to help me next quarter. And another thing I realized that I have not done is I haven't invited God into the situation. And like, not everyone is religious, but I'm religious, and I strongly believe in God, and I believe that He has a purpose for me, and I believe that I can get into medical school with by His grace. So I do feel like I've been leaving God a lot out of my academics. Like, I'll do what I can and then think that I can just do it all on my own. And the thing is, you can't, well, I can't, I don't want to speak for anyone, but it's not possible for me to do it all by myself. So I'm really going to be more proactive about inviting God when I do study. Say, God, allow this material to internalize, allow me to, like, you know, remember this stuff and recall this stuff. And I strongly feel like I will do so much better next quarter. Well, this quarter now, because I'm going to school in like a week. But that's really what I'm trying to change for this quarter. And I'll keep you guys updated on how it works for me. And I'm also going to see a pre-med. I've already seen a pre-med advisor, but I'm going to see a pre-med advisor again to kind of talk through my options and, you know, just figure out. And like, I know she's probably going to tell me post-bac, but honestly, I reject that in Jesus' name. Like, I am really going to try my best to get into medical school without a post-bac. And if, you know, God ultimately decides that I need to do a post-bac, then that's what I'm going to do. But as of right now, I feel like the situation is still reconcilable. Yeah, I think the kind of situation I'm in is like, it's not a end all be all, because if we're being quite honest, I have not taken a majority of the pre-med requirements, so I don't really have a science GPA to begin with, if that makes sense, except for Chem 31A and B. So I'm telling myself that literally I haven't made my GPA, my science GPA yet. So we don't know what that's going to be. And like, I know for a fact it is going to be a strong GPA because I'm really going to change my study habits and put myself in a better situation these next couple of quarters. And I just really want to make these videos to show you about my struggles, what I go through, being really honest with you, because literally I don't see people who look like me in the medical field. There are people who look like me, people who look like black, strong-hearted, passionate women in the medical field, but there's not enough of us. And I feel like I want to change that. Like, of course, I'm not going to wake up and be a doctor tomorrow, right? So I can't, like, be in the medical field, but I think it does start from, like, when you're in college. Like, if you don't see people who look like you, if you don't have people to look up to when you're going through this, of course you're not going to make it to the end because you've gotten discouraged. You don't see people who look like you. So, of course, and I really want to change that and show people out there that you can be a badass woman of color, man or woman of not color, like whatever, and you can still do well and get into medical school. Like, there's not one way to medical school, and there's not like a for sure path. Like, I promise you, different things work for different people. So I really want to like share my experience through this journey and tell you guys what study tips work for me, what doesn't work for me, and of course take it with a grain of salt because you guys aren't me. So what necessarily works for me may not work for you, but it's like, it's a starting point, and I feel like it's very necessary to have this because I don't see a lot of people on color on YouTube that are, you know, talking about these kind of issues. So it's really important that we're represented, like, for real, we're represented. So yeah, so things to look out for in these next coming videos is like what it's really like being a pre-med. Yeah, we know it's hard, but like a more in-depth like view into what it's like. And my plan is not always gonna go, like how I planned is not always gonna go accordingly. So I definitely want to update you guys with like how I'm able to problem solve bumps along the road and all those kind of stuff. So stay tuned. This is very like all over the place video, and I apologize, but just kind of like talking. I like jotted some notes, but I'm like talking as I think. So that's just what's coming to mind. And for those who are pre-med, I want you to know that you will be a doctor. If you want it as badly as you think you do, as you say you do, you will be a doctor. There's nothing in this world that's going to stop you from being a doctor but you. Don't let any pre-med advisor that tells you you're never going to become a doctor discourage you. Don't let people around you make you feel like you're never going to make it. Like, don't feel that way. And like, I'm saying this to you guys, but I'm also telling this to myself too, because we all get caught up in like, you know, feeling down sometimes about this journey, but it is so possible to be a doctor. Like, I will be a living testimony to that. Like, you will see me update you guys and say I got into X, Y, and Z medical schools, blah, 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 blah. It is possible. So I want you guys to continue encouraging yourselves. If you really want this, stay passionate about this. And also one thing I've learned is like, don't just, you know, it's okay to cry. Like, let me tell you, I cried a lot this winter break. It is okay to cry and like feel sad, but then it's like, what do you do after you have that breakdown? I think that's what's more important. Of like, are you gonna let this like mini breakdown about an exam or a grade you got or like an opportunity you missed, are you gonna let that get you down, or are you gonna say, all right, this happened, it sucked, now how am I gonna keep on going? So that's really what I want you guys to focus on. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have certain questions or certain topics you want me to address in my whole like pre-med journey to medical school series, let me know. Inbox me and comment below. It doesn't matter, as long as you let me know, and I will try to incorporate it into my videos. Please, please, please be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video with your friends. If you got a sister that's pre-med, if you got a brother that's pre-med, if your boyfriend pre-med, if your girlfriend pre-med, if your ex pre-med, anyone pre-med, tell them to like, show them this video. Okay, Siri. Anyone pre-med, follow me on this journey, and I know for a fact this journey is going to go well. I know for a fact at the end of the day, I will be a doctor. In 6-7 years, you will know me as Dr. Adebagbo. You will not call me Sean anymore. I will be Dr. Adebagbo. And just continue encouraging yourself, encourage your friends if they're going through this, and I will come back to you guys with another video. Hello, 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 hello.